Talk-6. Turn the mind away from objects. When objective knowledge ends, the seer does not survive as a seer. At that time, the pride of I disappears. Your mind is engrossed in the objects created by illusion, Maya. This includes even the body. As long as your mind is involved in Maya, you have the concepts of you and I. The whole struggle in illusion is because you want the body only to get what the mind considers to be good. Because you devote your mind to this struggle, the world exists. Because there are students, there are teachers. If the students go away, for whom is the teacher? Because there is objective knowledge, the you idea exists. How can the Lord pervade the body in which you, as ego, have taken residence? How can one sheath contain two swords? How can God occupy that place where the I is? To those who aspire to attain Brahman, can worthless objects be useful? So you must understand that all this is untrue. Those who want Brahmanhood must get a dose of Lord Vital's and verify one's true self. On one side there is the self, and on the other side is an army, the world, and the domains of 14 kingdoms, which includes the knowledge of spiritual powers. In the Mahabharata, Duryodhana, the eldest of the Kauravas, chose the armies. There are two alternate realities, illusion and Brahman. You must not even think of illusion as being good or bad. This is what is called detachment. When everything from an atom up to Lord Brahma and all wealth and prosperity is false, how can it be good or bad? When the mental inclination turns away from worldly desires, it naturally turns towards the self. How can one who thinks of objects all the time get the knowledge of Brahman? When the objective knowledge ends, the seer does not survive as a seer. At night, in deep sleep, objective knowledge fades away, and the ego disappears, and only the quiescent self remains. Whether one is a king or a beggar, all are equally happy during sleep. One who survives as I has all the troubles of thinking about various gods and penance, money and heaven and hell. This means that all of these miseries affect the mind. But when the mind is erased, only the absolute reality remains. Do not talk about objects of the world. Do not even talk of an atom or Brahman. Even if the mind enjoys worldly pleasures for millions of years, it will never be satisfied. However, since the mind is created by saying something if a concept arises, when you stop saying it, the mind vanishes. Ego is made up of only the mind, intellect, and the sense of I and you. All talk, except about one's own self, is false. The secret of the Vedas lies in the tenet that when objective knowledge ends, the seer does not survive as seer. What is the use of the great achievements of those who go to the grave in ignorance? Just as they came from the womb, wasting their life in vain. Many aspirants who come here talk of nothing other than the objective world. What is important is that the I must be destroyed. The jiva enjoys eating the fruit of the tree of life in the form of worldly existence. But Shiva, the bird that is sitting at the top of the tree, does not care for it, even if he is sitting on the fruit. When the fruit is renounced, he becomes Narayan, the reality. And when he looks towards objects, he becomes a man. In order to transform an ordinary man into a realized one, a jnani, it is not necessary to physically renounce the world. Only a change of mental attitude is necessary. One must have the attitude, let the objects come and go. It is all the same to me. And day and night the conviction, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, must be sustained. Then there is no more concern about the body. One who censors oneself does not censor another. One who does not get puffed up with pride by prosperity does not become miserable by poverty. If a man has this attitude, he becomes God. Maya, illusion, is like an untouchable woman. Unless you renounce her, whatever you have has no value. All those who ask for material satisfaction are the beggars. The saint asked for only one gift. He said, "Give me just one thing, that I may never forget you." One must censor Maya and praise Brahman. To attain the absolute truth is very easy. The interested one, instead of looking at here, the world, must turn to there, Atman, the self. You worship Ganapati and give him sweets, but you miss what is shown by one of his hands, the blessing that all is one. In the epic Mahabharata, there is a story of the demon Jarasandha, who had a boon, a wish, that even if his body was cut in two, the halves would join again and he would live. He owed allegiance to the Kauravas, so the Pandavas could not kill him. On Bhima, one of the Pandavas cut him in two in a mace duel. Lord Krishna made a gesture to Bhima to throw the body's left side to the right and the right side to the left. Thus thrown, he could not live again. In the same way, to attain the absolute truth, one must change the focus of one's thoughts from illusion to reality. You have forgotten Paramartha, the absolute truth. You must turn your mind towards it. Forget illusion. One has only to understand that the world is untrue. It must be seen as a kingdom in a dream world. Even if you get the status of Indra, the Lord of heaven and prosperity, it is still false. These breads, these objects, are all baked in illusion. They are to be prepared, baked, eaten, and excreted. The excretion is then used as fertilizer to grow crop to make more bread. It must be indelibly impressed upon the mind that this world is untrue and that Brahman is the truth as absolute pure consciousness. Once the knowledge of objects is put out of your mind, you are naturally the self-evident Brahman. Then peace, rest, and liberation stand before you with folded hands. When Bali gave everything in charity, God became the doorkeeper. Lakshmi walks up to the one who makes Lord Narayan her spouse, one's own. Those who are after Lakshmi, true wealth, get neither Lakshmi nor Narayan. If they're after the physical wealth. Concentrating one's attention on objects is what is called the impurity of the mind. To be carefree about objects is purity of mind. When the mind is turned towards the self, the absolute reality is attained.